Chosen one, pause whatever you are doing right now. It does not matter if you are driving somewhere, lying awake at 3 in the morning, scrolling through your phone, or standing in the kitchen preparing dinner with one earbud in. Stop for a moment, put everything else aside. Because what you are about to hear involves one of the most ancient and powerful beings in the entire celestial order, doing something he has not done for thousands upon thousands of years. He cried, not because of pain, not because of loss, not because he watched kingdoms collapse or entire civilizations disappear into history. He cried because of something you did. And if this message appeared on your screen at this exact moment in your life, you need to understand something before we go any further. This is not coincidence. This is not some clever algorithm guessing what might hold your attention. This is a call, and you were meant to answer it. If you are new here, subscribe to this channel and turn on every notification, because what will be revealed after the 7th section of this message will permanently change how you see yourself. And if you are already subscribed, thank you. You already understand that this place is not about entertainment, it is about revelation. Before we continue, type 777 in the comments if something inside you shifted the moment you pressed play. That feeling pulling you here was not curiosity. It was recognition. Something ancient inside you already knows the truth of what you are about to hear. You simply needed to hear it spoken out loud to confirm what your spirit has been whispering to you for years. Now stay with me, because before we build something powerful, we must first dismantle a misunderstanding. You have heard of Michael. Nearly everyone has. The warrior, the one who stood directly against the most powerful rebel heaven ever faced and did not retreat. The commander of celestial armies, whose very name is both a battle cry and a question. You have also heard of Gabriel, the messenger, the one who appeared before Mary, the one entrusted with messages so overwhelming that every time he appears in sacred texts, the first words he speaks are the same: do not be afraid. His presence alone is enough to overwhelm the human nervous system. But there is another archangel that few people truly understand, one who never chased attention, one who never asked for songs to be sung about him or paintings to be placed across cathedral ceilings. And when you trace his name back to its original Hebrew meaning, it reveals the entire reason he exists. It means God heals, not God punishes, not God demands, not God keeps score. God heals, and what those two words have meant for your life is something that should have been revealed to you a very long time ago. To understand this, we need to go back to a story that many people have never even heard, even though it has existed for centuries. It appears in the ancient Book of Tobit, a text that many churches in the Western world rarely discuss. Some traditions removed it entirely from their Bibles, and that alone should make you curious about what it contains, because hidden inside that story is a glimpse into how RAPHAEL actually operates. In that account, Raphael did something extraordinary. He left the throne room of the Most High and disguised himself as an ordinary human traveler. Think about that for a moment. A being who stands among the 7 spirits before the throne of God stepped into human clothing, walked dusty roads, shared meals beside campfires, and traveled across dangerous territory. And the person walking beside him had absolutely no idea who he truly was. A young man named Tobias believed he was simply journeying with a stranger who appeared at exactly the right moment. Someone who arrived out of nowhere when the road ahead seemed impossible. Just a companion, just a guide. Someone who happened to be there when help was needed most. Does that remind you of anything, Jaya? Think carefully. Have you ever had someone appear in your life at the exact moment you were about to fall apart? Someone who helped you through something impossible and then slowly disappeared as if they had only been passing through dire? Hold on to that thought, because we will return to it later. During that journey with Tobias, Raphael carried out 3 acts that changed the lives of everyone involved. First, he restored the sight of Tobias's father, Tobit, a man who had lived in blindness for years. This was a man who once held dignity and respect, but had been reduced to living in darkness, depending on others for the simplest things, forgotten by the world that once valued him. Second, Raphael freed a woman named Sarah from a destructive spiritual force called Asmode. This entity had destroyed 7 of her marriages before they could even truly begin. 7 attempts at love, 7 chances at happiness that ended in death. Imagine the weight of that kind of suffering. Imagine the hopelessness, and then Raphael ended it. But the third action he took is the part most people miss. Raphael did not reveal who he truly was until everything had already been completed. Not before the healing. Not during the miracles. After. Only once the blind could see again, only once the oppressed were free, only once every wound had already begun to mend, did Raphael finally reveal his identity. He healed first. He revealed himself last. Think about what that says about the kind of being he is. He is not one who works for applause, not one who heals so others will praise him. Raphael operates quietly, doing the work where no one is watching, and then stepping away before anyone even realizes what happened. And chosen one, that exact pattern has been unfolding in your life for far longer than you realize. Because Raphael does not only walk beside prophets and ancient travelers, he walks beside souls like yours. And what I am about to explain next is where this story becomes deeply personal for you. Now listen carefully, because this is where the story moves closer to your life than you may expect. Raphael holds a role in the spiritual order that goes far beyond what most people were ever taught. He is known as the keeper of wounds. That does not mean he stops you from being hurt. Preventing every hardship would be too simple for a being with his purpose. Instead, Raphael witnesses every wound you carry. Every betrayal. Every night you lay awake staring at the ceiling while tears quietly slid across your pillow. Every moment you needed someone but discovered the people who should have been there had already stepped away from your life. He sees all of it, and he does not simply observe these moments and move on. Raphael gathers them. Every scar, every fracture in your heart, every hidden pain the world told you to ignore or bury deep inside. He collects them the way a curator protects priceless artifacts. Because there is something about pain that the world has completely misunderstood. Human culture tells you to move forward quickly, be strong, hide the damage, smile through the pain, pretend nothing ever touched you. Suppress everything until you feel nothing at all. Then it calls that healing. But heaven sees it differently. Heaven says every scar on your soul is evidence. Evidence that something tried to destroy you and failed. Evidence that darkness aimed directly at your life and still could not erase you. Pause and think about this for a moment. If your life had no meaning, if your spirit carried nothing valuable, if your existence posed no threat to the forces that oppose light, why would so much energy have been invested in breaking you? Why does betrayal seem to follow you more often than others? Why has loneliness often felt heavier in your life than it does for most people around you? Why do you seem to feel things more deeply than those near you? Why are you usually the one who loves harder, forgives faster, and gives more than you receive? Why are you often the one who stays when others would have already walked away, because leaving someone in pain feels unnatural to you? It goes against something deep in your spirit. The world might have told you that this was weakness, but it never was. Not even once. Not even once. Not even once. It is frequency. Your soul operates on a level that many people cannot maintain for long. Most people encounter that depth for only brief moments in their lives. You live there constantly. And carrying that frequency has a cost. It can drain your energy. It can make you feel different from everyone around you. Sometimes it even makes you question whether something is wrong with you, because others do not seem to experience life the way you do. But nothing about you is broken. You are simply functioning on a different spiritual system. And Raphael has known this since the moment you took your first breath. There is something else you need to understand, something that very few people are ever told. Something that happened quietly behind the scenes of your life. Something even many angels speak about only in whispers. Long before many of the struggles you remember even began, something unusual happened in the unseen realm, according to ancient spiritual tradition. There are moments when certain souls are discussed in places far beyond the physical world, not out of curiosity, but because their journey on earth will carry weight. And in one of those moments, Raphael made a request, not to another archangel, not to a messenger or a guardian of lesser rank. Raphael asked for a direct audience with the Most High. The kind of audience that happens only when the matter is deeply important. And when he stood before that presence, his request was simple. Let me walk beside that soul. Let me remain close to them, because what they are going to face on earth will be heavier than most guardians are prepared to handle alone. You see, there are certain souls that do not come into this world for a quiet and predictable life. They do not arrive for comfort, routine, or easy paths that move neatly from beginning to end. They arrive for transformation. And the strange truth about transformation is that it rarely begins in comfort. It almost always begins in fire. To become someone who can help transform others, the soul itself must first pass through experiences that reshape it. Pain, loss, moments that feel like the ground beneath you has completely disappeared. You are one of those souls, and you might be wondering how anyone could possibly know that. The answer is simple. If you were not, none of this would resonate with you. You would have scrolled past this message a long time ago. It would sound strange, exaggerated, or meaningless, but instead, you are still here, listening closely. And somewhere inside you, there is a quiet recognition. Something deeper than logic is responding to these words. Maybe you even feel it right now. A pressure in your chest, a warmth behind your eyes, a tightness in your throat that appeared suddenly without explanation. That feeling is not imagination. It is confirmation. Because Raphael has been present during moments of your life when you believed you were completely alone. During nights when everything seemed to collapse around you and you wondered whether you could endure even one more day. Think back to those times when you reached what felt like the absolute bottom. Moments when your strength was gone, when even hope seemed exhausted. Yet somehow you kept going. Not through sheer willpower, because by that point you had none left. Not through logical planning, because logical had already told you to give up. Something else held you together, something unseen. Something warm that seemed to gather the broken pieces of you and keep them from falling apart. That quiet presence was Raphael, walking beside you without revealing himself, gently repairing what the world had shattered. And now we arrive at another piece of this story that very few people ever consider. Because Raphael did more than simply walk beside you. He also placed something within you. There is something unusual about your hands. This is not symbolic language. It is not poetic exaggeration. It is something many people around you have already experienced without understanding why. Think about the moments when someone close to you was overwhelmed with pain or fear. Maybe they were crying, maybe they were shaking, maybe they were on the edge of completely falling apart. Then you placed a hand on their shoulder or wrapped your arms around them in a quiet embrace. And something changed. The panic that was rising in their chest began to settle. Their breathing slowed, the tension in their bodies softened. You did not give a long speech. You did not provide a perfect solution to their problems. Sometimes you barely spoke at all, yet your presence alone seemed to calm them. Have you noticed this before? Animals often react to you differently as well. Dogs that refuse to listen to anyone else somehow relax around you. Cats that hide from strangers approach you without hesitation. Even small children sometimes look at you with a kind of curious focus, as if they are recognizing something familiar that adults have forgotten how to see. And there may have been moments when you noticed a strange warmth in your hands, a subtle heat spreading through your palms for no clear reason. A light tingling that appears suddenly and disappears just as quietly, especially when you are near someone who is hurting. These moments are not random. They are signs of a gift that Raphael awakened within you through every difficult experience you survived. Before you dismiss that idea, answer a few questions honestly. Have you ever hugged someone and later felt as though you had taken on part of their pain? As if you walked into the moment feeling normal, but walked away carrying a heaviness that was not originally yours? Have you ever spent time helping someone through a crisis and afterward felt completely drained, even though you had done nothing physically exhausting? Have you ever experienced strange aches or tension in your body that appeared suddenly and then disappeared without explanation? These experiences are connected to something known as supernatural empathy. It often feels like a burden because it means you sense emotional pain very deeply. But in truth, it is a rare sensitivity. In ancient times, healers were rarely people who simply studied techniques. The true healers were individuals who had endured deep suffering themselves. Their pain sharpened their perception. Their wounds opened their understanding of what others feel. Their scars became instruments that allowed them to recognize suffering in others. And slowly, over time, those scars transformed into sources of healing. There is a spiritual principle that has existed since the earliest days of human history. The wounded healer, the one who suffered deeply, becomes capable of healing deeply. The one who experienced betrayal can rebuild trust with remarkable strength. The one who walked through darkness carries a kind of light that cannot be manufactured by comfort, and that principle is alive in you. Not the polished version of you that the world sometimes sees, not the mask you wear to appear strong when everything feels chaotic inside, but the real, the one who has faced sleepless nights, the one who has carried invisible battles, the one who sometimes struggled just to get out of bed and face another day. That version of you is not broken. That version of you is medicine. And someone in this world is already being healed simply because you exist. But there is another layer to this connection with Raphael that most people never realize, because Raphael does not communicate the same way other archangels do. Each of the great archangels carries a different kind of presence, and the way they communicate with the human soul is never identical. When Michael moves near someone's life, people often feel fire. It shows up as a sudden surge of courage, a fierce determination to stand up against something that once intimidated them. It feels like strength rising in the spine when fear once lived there. Gabriel's influence is different. Gabriel brings clarity. His presence often appears as sudden understanding. An idea enters the mind from nowhere, and something that once felt confusing suddenly makes perfect sense. It is the moment when scattered pieces of a puzzle suddenly lock together. But Raphael communicates through something far quieter. Peace. Not the ordinary kind of peace that comes when life is easy and everything is going according to plan. Raphael's peace appears when circumstances say there should be none at all. It is the kind of peace that arrives in the middle of chaos, the kind that appears during storms that should have broken you. It is calm that defies logic, yet it feels so real that you can almost sense it physically, like a gentle pressure resting over your heart, telling you to breathe. If you think carefully about your past, you will recognize moments like this. Times when everything in your life seemed to be collapsing, support systems were failing, plans were falling apart. Every direction looked uncertain. And in the center of that chaos, something inside you whispered quietly, "It's going to be okay. Just keep going." That voice did not come from external reassurance. It did not come from perfect circumstances. It came from somewhere deeper. That was Raphael healing you as events unfolded. But there is another sign that very few people notice. Occasionally, Raphael's influence touches the physical body in ways that even medical science cannot fully explain. Have you ever recovered from an illness or injury faster than anyone expected? Have you ever walked into a medical appointment fearing the worst outcome, only to hear that everything looked far better than predicted? Sometimes doctors glance at records and quietly say something like, "This healed quicker than we usually see." Moments like that are often dismissed as fortunate genetics or good timing. He does not only mend wounds that exist in the soul, he also strengthens the body when the moment requires it. And there have likely been times in your life when his protection quietly stepped in without you even realizing it. Now we must speak about something even more significant, because there was a moment in your life that served as a test you never prepared for, a test you never knew was happening, yet it revealed something about you that shook the unseen world itself. In the oldest spiritual traditions, every chosen soul encounters a test specifically designed to reveal the heart's true nature. It is not a test with right or wrong answers, and it is not something you can study for. It is a measure of character forged in the fire of life's harshest moments. And these tests rarely arrive as clear opportunities. They often come disguised as betrayal, loss, or injustice so severe it shakes every belief you once held. They arrive as experiences that could easily make a lesser soul collapse. But the test is not about what happens to you. It is about how you respond. Did you lash out when you had every reason to destroy someone? No. Did you expose secrets that could have devastated lives? No. Did you remain silent when the world expected you to explode in retaliation? Yes, that choice defines the test. And you passed, not because you were being observed, not because there was a hidden audience evaluating your behavior. You acted with integrity because that is who you are. It is the essence of your spirit, even when vengeance would have been easier, even when cruelty would have felt justified, even when the world expected you to strike back. You still chose kindness, you still chose mercy, you still chose light. and that is exactly wake. That made Raphael weep. He has seen suffering beyond comprehension. He has witnessed grief and loss across generations. He has walked alongside humans in pain too immense for most to imagine. Yet it was not your suffering that moved him. It was your response within that suffering, your compassion, when you could have been ruthless, your silence, when you could have unleashed chaos, your integrity, when betrayal surrounded you. Think for a moment about the knowledge you carry about certain people, secrets that could dismantle reputations, destroy careers, or end relationships in an instant, and yet you have never used that knowledge to hurt anyone. You held it. You protected it. You protected it. And in doing so, you displayed a kind of power that even angels find difficult to fully comprehend. Now we arrive at the moment I've been leading toward, the precise reason Raphael shed tears for you, and for this you need to be completely present, not distracted, not divided, completely aware. Because what I am about to reveal was kept hidden by Raphael for centuries, only released because of a single moment in your life. A moment when you were utterly, completely alone. Not physically alone, but alone in the deepest, most profound sense. No one understood your burden. No one saw the real you. No one grasped how much weight you carried while pretending everything was fine. And in that abyss, you did something extraordinary. You did not curse. You did not sink into bitterness. You did not give in to despair. Rafe, instead, you asked for strength, not revenge. Not escape, not relief from your circumstances. Just strength. Just enough to survive one more day, and that broken, imperfect, desperate plea reached the very throne of the Most High like thunder across the cosmos. The universe stopped in that moment. The seraphim paused their eternal song. The elders of heaven turned their gaze. Every being across every dimension felt the vibration of that prayer. It carried something long absent. Purity, no ego, no conditions, no bargaining. No attempt to manipulate the outcome, just a shattered soul asking for the bare minimum to breathe, to survive, to see one more sunrise. And Raphael, who has witnessed countless prayers throughout human history, from kings and prophets to entire nations crying out in despair, stopped everything because yours was different. It wasn't a request for gain, recognition, or reward. It was simply a wounded heart, raw and honest, asking for a chance to keep going. And in that moment, the Archangel of Healing, the same being who restored Tobit's sight, freed Sarah from 7 demons, and walked through spiritual battlefields without faltering, felt something unprecedented. Tears rose in his eyes, not from sadness, not from sorrow, but from recognition. Recognition of something extraordinary within you. He saw a proof that even angels rarely witness, a human soul fragile and flawed, standing in darkness, choosing light, choosing faith over despair, choosing hope when logic said there was none left, choosing goodness when the world offered vengeance, choosing mercy when retaliation was justified. That is what moved Raphael to tears, not because of your suffering, not because of your battles, but because of your response to them, your resilience, your integrity, your refusal to let the darkness define you, your ability to remain light in a world determined to dim your flame. And now, with that knowledge, you must understand something crucial. This revelation is not meant to give you a fleeting sense of comfort. This is a turning point. When Raphael recognizes you, when an archangel weeps over the light within a human, something shifts in the spiritual realm permanently. A door opens and it does not close. Opportunities, lignants, and transformations begin that cannot be reversed. Perhaps you've already noticed subtle signs. People suddenly pulling away without explanation, situations that seemed stable collapsing. A sensation like shedding old skin, letting go of the past, preparing for something new. This is not loss. It is preparation. Raphael doesn't just heal, he prepares, and preparation often looks like endings. Endings that make room for beginnings far greater than you can currently imagine. Relationships that dissolved were not punishments, they were completions. Opportunities that vanished were not failures, they were redirections. Raphael orchestrates with precision, removing what holds you back to allow what sets you free to arrive. And although it feels uncomfortable, even painful, this is exactly the work being done in your life right now. I know it feels overwhelming at times. Nights when you stare at the ceiling, wondering when the weight will lift, when the confusion will end, when the storm will finally pass. The questions pile up faster than answers arrive, and it's easy to feel exhausted by the uncertainty. But hear this clearly. The very fact that you are listening, the fact that you arrived at this point in the message, proves that the shift has already begun. Change is underway, and it will not unfold gradually. It will be sudden, like the first light of dawn after the longest, darkest night. You won't see it creeping along step by step. One moment, darkness dominates, and the next, the light is already shining. And now comes the most vital piece of all, the mission that Raphael has placed upon you. It is not what the world expects. It is not standing on stages, teaching seminars, gaining followers, or achieving recognition. Those are distractions. Your true mission is far simpler and far more profound. Your mission is to exist. To exist exactly as you are, with all your cracks, contradictions, and chaotic, beautiful complexity. The life you live, the way you carry yourself, the authenticity you radiate, all of it is transformative. Simply by being present in this world, you are healing others. Every scar you have survived, every tear you shed, every wound that Raphael has touched, has been converted into a source of strength and restoration for the people around you. Remember the principle of the wounded healer. You do not need to create extraordinary actions to make a difference. Your mere presence, your empathy, your depth, and your resilience have already changed countless lives without your conscious effort. When someone feels safe near you, when strangers are inexplicably drawn to your calm, when a child or an animal responds to you in ways that seem impossible, that is your gift manifesting. That is Raphael's work in you, alive and active. Your scars are no longer weaknesses, they are wells from which others can drink, even unknowingly. Your pain has been transformed into power. Your suffering has been alchemized into presence, and it is happening automatically, without you trying, without even being aware of the process. You have become exactly what the world needs, not a flawless being, not someone untouched by hardship, but a human who has endured, who has rebuilt, who has chosen light in the face of darkness. A human who forgives when destruction would be justified, a human who persists when every signal says to stop. That human is you, and Raphael knows it. And now you know it too. Before we conclude, I want you to do something with me. Close your eyes for a moment, feel the warmth in your chest, that indescribable certainty, the deep, quiet knowing that every word you've heard today was meant specifically for you. That is Raphael right here with you, as he always has been and as he always will be. Rima. Rima, remember this truth. The next time the world tries to convince you that you are not enough, the next time someone attempts to dim the fire within you, the next time darkness comes knocking, expecting you to give in, hold on to this fact. Even an archangel wept because of what you endured and still stand for. If that does not show you who you are, nothing ever will. For those who wish to go even deeper into this awakening, there is exclusive material waiting for you in the description and pinned comment. It comes at a small cost, less than a pizza, and includes a complete audiobook along with a 5-minute guided meditation as a special bonus. It is designed as the perfect next step for what you have just experienced. And now, take action. Click the video appearing on your screen, because what awaits there is the perfect continuation of this revelation. Do not miss it. Every step you take now aligns with the path Raphael has prepared for you. Understand this fully. Your presence is powerful. Your scars are sacred. Your survival is proof that light can prevail even in the deepest darkness. Your life is a testament to resilience, mercy, and faith forged in fire. You are not here by accident. You are here because heaven needed someone like you, someone who can endure, who can heal, who can shine light where none exists. You do not need to change or perform for anyone. You do not need titles, stages, or followers. You simply need to continue existing fully as yourself. Every action, every gesture, every moment of empathy and understanding you extend radiates outward and transforms the world. You are already fulfilling your mission without realizing it. Raphael's work in you is complete. Your gift is active. Your life, your presence, your soul broken, rebuilt, imperfect, and radiant is exactly what this world has been waiting for. You have endured, you have survived, and you have become the living embodiment of light in the darkness.